Bihari Radha Madhava Bihari Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Jasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravanam Chadi Tiravanam Chadi Jamuna Tiravanam Chadi Tiravanam Chadi Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Jasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachadi Jamuna Tiravanam Chadi Tiravanachadi Jayam Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Harivajagacharya Astatara Satvasi Srimadis Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya This morning we're going to continue where I left off before the whole Ramayana situation came up. Canto 10, Chapter 38, text number 15. 38:15. That machine that's playing the japa recording, can you turn that off? So this is Akrura's journey in Kamsa's chariot heading to Vrindavan. 2 chapters ago is when Kamsa requested Akrura to go. He spent the night. He left early in the morning. And it took him all day to get to Vrindavan. So the chapter 38 opens, he's leaving. And then he's contemplating manmana. His mind is fixed on Krishna. He's in ecstasy. He's in the prema bhakti stage, feeling ecstasy. And the commentators describe Sanchari Bhav, this one, Sanchari Bhav, that one, Sanchari Bhav, the other one. It's waves of bhava in the ocean of prema, and different moods and expressions. So the one that we're on this morning was 22 verses, and text 15 reads, "Then I will at once alight from my chariot and bow down to the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, the Supreme Personalities of Godhead. Theirs are the same feet that great mystic yogis, striving for self-realization, bear within their minds. I will also offer my obeisances to the Lord's cowherd boyfriends and to all the other residents of Vrindavan." So where I left off, we read the BBT commentary and multiple of the Acharya's commentary, and this morning we're going to Jiva Goswami's Priti Sandarbha, where this verse is referred to at the end. And there's a whole lot that leads up to making reference to this verse, text 15, at the end. The focus is going to the very special affection that these cowherd boys have for Krishna. Now, of course, Krishna is at the center, but we're going to get a nice panorama of affection for the personality of Godhead and the special intimacy. The word is pranaya, or pranaya, the affection that's unique to the intimate associates, and especially focuses going to the cowherd boys because of this verse, text 15. The cowherd boys are stimulations for ecstatic love as much as Krishna is. As Krishna's form, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's anything relating to Krishna, they serve as stimulations. Udipan is the word that Rupa Goswami uses. So he, Akrura, is thinking about seeing Krishna, and seeing Krishna to him is as ecstatic as seeing the cowherd boys. So that's where the focus is going in this section, Priti Sandarbha, where Jiva Goswami begins. It is accepted that the cowherds, meaning all the residents of Vrindavan, because that's their occupation is cowherd people. It is accepted that the cowherds had the highest knowledge, since by their nature they realized the highest level of sweetness. Thus, Brahma wanted to have realization of the form of Krishna that the cowherds had realized after seeing Krishna expand into infinite four-armed forms. Reference to chapter 14, verse number 1. Lord Brahma saw what he saw, and then he's offering prayers, chapter 14. Oh, worshipable Lord, I offer my obeisances to you, to attain you, Nanda's son, having a body the complexion of a rain cloud, wearing cloth flashing like lightning, with face shining among peacock feathers and gunjaberry decorations, with colorful forest garland, and possessing soft feet, his beauty enhanced by the yogurt rice stick, horn, and flute. Jiva Goswami goes on. So he goes back and forth between making references and then commentary and going on to the next reference. This is all about the affection of the residents of Vrindavan and specifically the cowherd boys as well. Since their knowledge was natural or intrinsic to them, their priti never wavered because of other temporary knowledge. Rather, their priti defeated all other knowledge. Priti increases when there are obstacles, just as attraction to the object of love increases with obstacles in material priti. Though it is seen that there are faults in the objects of material love, in anurag, that's a term used in relation to affection or love for Krishna. Anurag is constant loving affection, Prabhupada's. So the residents of Vrindavan have anurag, constant loving affection, and therefore they have such a person realizes the wonderful qualities of the beloved Krishna very strongly. This is said in Vishnu Purana 1.20.19 in comparing material priti to priti for Krishna. Now normally when Jiva Goswami makes a reference like that, he cites the verse. Here he doesn't. I researched, I couldn't find that verse, but it's the compare and contrast thing. Priti that's material, priti that's spiritual. How they compare, how they contrast. But specifically, we're hearing that verse tells us because of priti for Krishna, one can then very deeply, profoundly realize the qualities of Krishna very strongly. Nanda and Yashoda say to Balaram, chapter 65, this is they're together. It's way towards the end. After they've left Vrindavan, gone to Dwarka, gone from Vrindavan to Mathura to Dwarka, and then back again. Nanda and Yasoda say to Balaram, O descendant of Dasharha, O Lord of the universe. Interesting. Nanda and Yasoda are calling Balaram Lord of the universe. May you and your younger brother Krishna ever protect us. Saying this, they raised Balaram onto their laps, embraced him, and moistened him with tears from their eyes. This is Balaram's visit. He's in Dwaraka and he wants Krishna to go, but Krishna doesn't go, so he goes to give association, etc. Though it was clear that Balaram was Vasudev's son, was a Kshatriya, meaning Nanda and Yasoda are cowherds, but he is in Dwarka as a Kshatriya. And also the Supreme Lord. And his comment is, these are obstacles. These, seeing him as their son. Nonetheless, the two saw him only as their son. And here's the reference from Canto 10, Chapter 6. O best of the Kurus, once Balaram, eager to visit his well-wishing friends, mounted his chariot and traveled to Nanda Gokula. Having long suffered the anxiety of separation, the cowherd men and their wives embraced Balaram. The Lord then offered respects to his parents, and they joyfully greeted him with blessings. That's the same chapter 65. Even persons who have natural Aishvarya Gyan overcome this. Now, Nanda and Jasoda don't have natural Aishvarya Gyan, but let's say Vasudeva and Devaki, they do. So we're going to hear some examples of those that have Aishvarya Gyan. And there's two examples, Devahuti and her relationship with Kapila Dev. And then we're going to hear about Devaki and her relationship with Krishna. So Devahuti and Devaki, understand their son to be the personality of Godhead. They're imbued with the Aishvarya Gyan. However, because their affection for as mother to son is so strong, they just overlook it. They see it, but they overlook it. It's kind of in between. So here we go. Jiva Goswami, this is Priti Sandarbha. What's the nature of love? So, Canto 3, Chapter 33, Text 21, Devahuti says, or about Devahuti, since her husband had also left home, she became aggrieved with separation from her son, even though she knew the truth. She was like a cow aggrieved when losing a calf. Her Kardama Muni, who she had been with for tens of thousands of years, had gone when their son became of age to take care of mother. And then after Kapila Dev instructed his mother, he also left. And now she knows who he is. He's independent, Supreme Personality of Godhead. She's feeling motherly feelings. Priti. This is the sweetness aspect that surpasses the Aishvarya aspect. That's the point. Devaki also says, this is now prayers in the womb. Excuse me, Krishna has taken birth. So Krishna has taken birth, chapter 3. Oh, killer of Madhu, sinful Kamsa should not know that you have been born to me. With mind unsteady because of your mercy, I fear what Kamsa will do to you. He's shown his forearm form and the whole thing. But her mind is unsteady because of her motherly affection. Priti has that capacity. Here's two more references. This is Yudhisthira. Yudhisthira knows that Krishna is Bhagavan, but he forgets that Krishna is Bhagavan, and he's praised for that in the following, Canto 1, Chapter 10, 2 verses. Yudhisthira, worried about enemies, out of affection engaged an army of 4 parts. According to Sridhar Swami, the 4 parts are elephants, horses, chariots, and foot soldiers. 6 for the protection of Krishna. So 6 divisions apparently. Akshohini. So this is to help Krishna go back to Dwarka from Hastinapur. He knows he's the personality Godhead, but he wants to protect him because that's his priti, that's his affection. Leaving the Pandavas, who were most affectionate, who were afflicted by separation, and who had accompanied him for a long way, Krishna went to Dwarka. Here's another Jiva Goswami like this example. This is from Canto 10, Chapter 53, the marriage of Rukmini chapter. And it's in relation to Balaram got word that Krishna is planning to go kidnap Rukmini. And he gets, he knows he's the personality of Godhead, but he has older brother affection. When Balaram, who is Bhagavan, knower of everything, heard about these preparations of the inimical kings and how Krishna had set off alone to steal the bride, he feared that a fight would ensue. Immersed in affection for his brother, he hurried to Kundina. That's the capital of Bhishmaka. With a mighty army consisting of infantry and soldiers riding on elephants, horses, and chariots. He was going to go protect Krishna. Comment. Bhagavan here means that even though being omniscient, Balaram acted in this way. Going back to Canto 10, Chapter 11, this is the Bakasura pastime. When Balaram and the other boys saw that Krishna had been devoured by the gigantic crane, he wasn't devoured, he was in the beak, they fainted, becoming lifeless like senses without prana. Commentary again. Though it is established that Madhurya Jnana has greater happiness, even Shukadev Goswami was suitably surprised by the good fortune of the cowherds, this is the boys, who had surpassed experience of Brahman and Ishvara because of natural attainment of sweetness. So he's making a comparison. The cowherd boys are in friendship, and it's understood over and over the exalted nature of Madhurya Rasa is super special. Yet, the affection of the cowherd boys is super special. So what to speak of the gopis. So he quotes, and he's going to quote this twice in this one purport, or commentary, Itam satam brahma sukhanu brutya dasyam gatanam paradaivatena maya shatanam naradarakena sakam braju krita punya punjaha. So, celebrated verse. Our acharyas like it. Jiva Goswami especially likes it. Prabhupada liked it. 10, 12, 11. Translated. In this way, with an abundance of splendor caused by Krishna, they, cowherd boys, played with him, who was pure consciousness known as Brahman for the Gyanis, who was the Supreme Lord for the devotees with Dasya Bhava, and who was an ordinary human child for those covered by material illusion. And he doesn't comment about it here. He's going to comment it shortly. Two more verses on the same theme. This is Sukadev speaking about the love of Yashoda. Chapter 9, the Damodar Leela. Chapter 9. Neither Brahma nor Shiva nor even the goddess of fortune, who is always the better half of the Supreme Lord, can obtain from the Supreme Lord, the deliverer from this material world, such mercy as received by Mother Yashoda. Next verse, this is 2021 from that chapter. The Lord, son of Yashoda, is not easily attainable to materialists or to Gyanis with realization of Atma, but is easily available to persons with devotion to the son of Yashoda. Then he goes to Uddhava's visit. Uddhava left Mathura and went to visit Vrindavan. When Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Leela, the gopis were embraced by the arms of the Lord. This favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune, though she was intensely attracted to him, or to other consorts in the spiritual world whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the lotus flower, and what to speak of worldly women. And then he goes on. We're getting this nice plunge into priti, affection, of the different rasas and different situations. Sometimes the appearance of Aishwarya in these persons with natural sweetness nourishes the Madhurya Jnana by astonishment. How can our son do such things? For them, Aishwarya is an obstacle. But the obstacle serves to amplify the sweetness. Example, chapter 28. This is Krishna showing the spiritual world to the residents of Vrindavan after the Varuna incident. Krishna took them to the lake by the side of the river Jamuna, showed them the spiritual world. Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men felt the greatest happiness when they saw that abode. They were especially amazed to see Krishna there, surrounded by the personified scriptures, who were offering him prayers. So there's an Aishwarya dimension in the midst of these residents of Vrindavan that only know his sweetness. So the astonishment was enhancing the sweetness. It didn't disturb them, or didn't disturb their mood. Jiva Goswami goes on, because of its purity, the priti of the young girls of Gokula is best. However, here's a general description. The general description is Brahma speaking about them. Chapter 14. O Lord, Brahma to Krishna, what can you give to the residents of Braja, whose houses, possessions, friends, dear ones, bodies, sons, life heirs, and hearts are dedicated only to you, since there is nothing superior to you or Braja, which you already have given them. Thinking of this, my mind becomes bewildered. You awarded yourself even to Putana and her family members because she wore the disguise of a nurse. He goes on, Jiva. There, in Braja, it is seen that even the animals have the greatest affection. He refers to the Kaliya Leela, chapters 16 and 17. They're seeing Krishna in difficulty with Kaliya. The cows, bulls, and female calves in great distress called out piteously to Krishna. Fixing their eyes on him, they stood still in fear, shedding tears as if they were humans. And then when Krishna lay down, Balaram serves him with affection. This is after the Leela. Balaram embraced his infallible brother and laughed. Knowing well the extent of Krishna's potency, out of great feelings of love, Balaram lifted Krishna up on his lap and repeatedly looked at him. The cows, bulls, and young female calves also achieved the highest pleasure. Even the plants experienced the greatest bliss. Chapter 17, this is again Kaliya. Having regained their vital functions, Yashoda, Rohini, Nanda, and all the other cowherd men went up to Krishna. O descendant of Kuru, even the dried up trees came back to life. He escaped the coils of Kaliya, so they're coming back to life. Brahma prays. Now we're back to chapter 14, his prayers. My greatest possible good fortune would be to take birth, whatever, any birth, whatever, in this forest of Gokula, and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. Their entire life and soul is the Lord Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is sought even today by the Upanishads. In Gokula, the ocean of highest Madhurya Gyan, there are different categories of devotees. Anugata, those who are obedient, and Bandhava, those who are relatives. Among the two types of dear persons, the Bandhavas are the greatest because of having intense possessiveness. Now, this is a term that's, I don't even know what the Sanskrit is, but it's used by our acharyas all the time. Possessiveness, like Krishna's mine. So Krishna's my son, Krishna's my friend. The intensity of that affection is called possessiveness. You know, I and mine in material consciousness is completely flipped over. Krishna, I am Krishna's and Krishna's is mine. That is, the relationship is that possessiveness, very intense. Brahma prays, how greatly fortunate are Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd men, and all the other inhabitants of Brajabhumi. There is no limit to their good fortune, because Krishna gave them prema, which is the highest bliss, eternal and complete. It is said in this verse that even among the younger people of Braja, Krishna accepts friendship. Mitrata, mitra is friendship. And mitrata is having the quality of friendship. That is said in praise of friendship. The excellence of sadhakas among the people of Braja is described. Now he goes back again to this text 11 verse from chapter 12. Etam satam brahma sukhanubhrutya dasyam gatanam paradaivatena maya shatanam naradarakena sakam vajro krita punya punjaha. He likes it. In this way, with an abundance of splendor caused by Krishna, they played with him, who was pure consciousness known as Brahman for the Gyanis, who was the Supreme Lord for the devotees with Dasya Bhav, and who was an ordinary human child for those covered by material illusion. Then he's going to go further into this, like each word. Satam refers to Gyanis who realize Brahman. The position of the Sakhas was much greater. Those in Dasya realize Krishna as the Supreme Lord, Para Daivatena. Then Jiva Goswami quotes a verse from Canto 6, another celebrated verse. So I'll recite the Sanskrit. Muktanam api siddhanam Narayana Parayana Sudurlabha Prashantatma Kotishvapi Mahamune. This is Shukadev speaking. Oh, great sage. Greater, maybe it's not, maybe it's Parikshit speaking. Oh, great sage, greater than those who are Jivan Mukta, and greater than those who attain liberation, is the devotee of Narayana. Such a devotee who is in Shanta or other rasas is very rare, even among 10 million people. Kotishvapi. The sakhas are rarer than that. Neither the general spiritual form, the form of the Supreme Lord, nor shelter of prema were not realized by all the persons devoid of Gyan, Bhakti, and Maitri, those who took shelter of Maya, Maya Shratanam, since they were unqualified for seeing Krishna in these forms. He cannot be attained by them. Abhajananti Mahmudha Manushim Tanamashratam. The fools deride me as someone with a material human form. The first three lines of the verse, Itam. The first three lines of the verse indicate rareness of seeing the Lord in any form. The cowherd boys directly played with Krishna, who cannot be easily seen because of having the highest Sakya, friendship, ascending to the excellence of prema. This was astonishing to Shukadev. Or, although Krishna appeared directly as Parabrahman in human form, greater than all other forms ever seen, even to ordinary material people, by his all-pervading mercy, they did not attain bhava as a friend, though they could attain these other realizations, such as Brahma and Dasya. The Sakhas played with Krishna as a friend, a form excellent with the bhava of a friend. Thus, they alone were the best among people who pleased the Lord by doing many pious acts, Krita Punya Punja. Among types of friends, this type of friendship does not exist. They are greater than all others. We're almost finished here. Therefore, the good fortune of these friends who play directly with Krishna because of special friendship with intimacy, pranaya, should be described. Let the ordinary among the inhabitants of Braja remain. That is another good fortune. The good fortune of just seeing them is very rare, even for the great sages. But Akrura is going to more than just see them. To indicate this, the next verse says, this is the verse after that, Itam Sikanam. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, whose foot dust cannot be seen by yogis in samadhi, though they have controlled their mind by severe hardship for many births, that same Swayam Bhagavan Krishna is eternally situated here, directly visible to the eyes of all the people of Braja. Ah, what good fortune of the people of Braja to be, how can it be described? Their special friendship with intimacy, or pranaya, nourishes the greater good fortune of the sakhas, greater than all the other categories of the yogi, the jnani, and even the dasya bhaktas. The greater good fortune of the sakhas is found in this special friendship with intimacy and Akrura is going to offer as obeisance to them for that reason. So that's now this verse, text 15 of chapter 38. Quote, "Then I will at once alight from my chariot and bow down to the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, the Supreme Lords. Their feet are contemplated by yogis in intense practice in order to attain him. I will also offer my obeisances to the Lord's cowherd boyfriends and to all the other residents of Vrindavan." And the final message here. When Brahma stole the calves and boys, Krishna made copies of the boys and calves, but saw that they were not the same as the originals. He was more attached to the originals than to his expansions of the originals. That's the message. Thus, he himself became the calves and boys, but not being satisfied with them, he later brought the real calves and boys back after a year because of attraction for them. So if even Krishna is attracted to the cowherd boys, then what to speak of Akrura or anybody else? Now their specialness is their love for Krishna, and then there's Krishna. So he's going to offer obeisances to Krishna, Balaram, and the cowherd boys, and all the residents of Vrindavan. And this specialness is their pranaya, their profound affection. So we have a ways to go, right? We're still kind of like in a sadhana bhakti stage, kind of a little unsteady and a little distracted and a little this and a little that. But the potency of hearing about the all-attractive personality of Godhead and the kind of love that the residents of Vrindavan have, it's stimulations of that love. That's, even if we're kind of still distracted in this and that, there's potency in that sound vibration. It's good to keep hearing and hearing. Cleanse and become attracted to. Not imitate, but become influenced by that sound vibration describing their love. And just a general comment about this section. One of the things I like about this section so much is it's very relevant, immediately relevant to us, because while Akrura is anticipating meeting Krishna, we're in the sadhana stage, we're not in the prema stage that he is. And as he is anticipating meeting Krishna, we should also be anticipating or yearning or hankering or striving, expecting mercy of Krishna to come our way to make that connection with Krishna ourselves, even in the sadhana stage. So it matures, and from our stage we can see what the mature stage looks like, but the principle is the same. Kabhi Habhi Bolo Se Din Amar. When will that day come? That's the yearning part. Awakening of bhakti is the intention of our sadhana practice. There is some bhakti awakened, weak but awakened, and to a degree. And to strengthen the bhakti within us, the attraction for Krishna, attachment, what to speak of this pranaya, this deep affection, it's hankering for that, yearning for that. One can go on chanting for many lifetimes, or one can move more quickly than for many lifetimes. And a big factor is association, of course, but this yearning for that connection. So we're being given descriptions of Devahuti and Devaki and persons outside of Vrindavan, and what to speak of then those within Vrindavan. From any position, their special glory is because of that intense eagerness to be with Krishna. They experience the sweetness of Krishna. Krishna is attracted by their love for him, and he reciprocates with their love for him, which is very special. We must not say that Brahma is he's the head of our sampradaya. But when Brahma finished these very, very beautiful prayers, it's indicative of Krishna's affection for the residents of Vrindavan. He didn't even speak anything to Brahma. Brahma departed and he went to finish lunch with the cowherd boys, because he was more attracted to that than all these wonderful prayers. And they're wonderful prayers. They're very edifying. But it's Krishna's nature. So he gives himself without conditions or constraints. He gives himself to those who have love for him, and especially the love of the residents of Vrindavan. So let's see if there's some discussion.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So, from the reading today, it appears that Akrura is specifically offering obeisances because to the cowherd boys, because they are the recipients of the affection of Lord Krishna. And he recognizes that and wants to pay obeisances. One question I have is, the cowherd boys are in the Sakya relationship, and Arjuna was also in the Sakya relationship. But there seems to be a distinction between the way the Sakya relationship plays out.
Yes, there is.
Because the intimacy is more in the case of the cowherd boys, because they were playing and even teasing and ridiculing Krishna without recognizing the supremacy of him. Whereas in the case of Arjuna, it was more...
Aishwarya again.
Yeah.
Correct. Now Arjuna did some of the other. He apologizes to Krishna for the other in Bhagavad Gita. So some, but not with the same degree of intensity and totality of the cowherd boys. Okay. Your mother.
Guru Maharaj, the Preeti in all the rasas, the Preeti is involved,
correct,
right?
Correct.
So, but how is it different?
There's variety. There's variety of intensity and variety of rasa. There's variety in a number of ways. One of the principal varieties that we're hearing is the degree of influence of Aishwarya Gyan. But we're hearing, in the case of the residents of Vrindavan, their Preeti was so strong it drove it away. It became an impetus of astonishment, which is a secondary rasa, instead of eclipsing their Preeti. There's all variety. It's like big spectrum. It's not only one color. very colorful. Anyone else? Otherwise, we'll go online. You have something? You have something? Okay, over here.
So the Akrura here, he's recognizing the residents of Vrindavana as Prabhu said, recipients of the love from Krishna. So that means he is fully aware of the situation where the association is much important than like directly associating with Krishna, associating with the devotees. Is that in that relation he is
Your question is not clear to me.
the
Is it clear to you?
means the relationship is fully recognizing the devotees relationship is more important than the association of Krishna. He is in that consciousness. That's what my question was. Means we know like association of the Krishna likes the devotees who takes the association of his devotees more than him.
Are you, I'm not sure, yeah, I'm hearing, I'm not clear. Are you saying, are you asking, do you want to know, is having a close relationship with his devotees more important than a close relationship with him? Is that your question? No.
Yes,
Yes.
that's the question.
That is the question. It's one of them.
It's like a two. I think maybe I'm combining two parts.
Okay, let's split them. One question one. Are we to understand from this that association with devotees of Krishna is more important than association with Krishna himself?
Yes.
Well, not exactly more important, because the association of the devotees, like let's say the cowherd boys, the association of the cowherd boys means association with Krishna, because they're always physically or otherwise they're absorbed in Krishna. So by associating with them, we can also become absorbed in Krishna. So that's a segue into becoming directly associated with Krishna. But the hankering of the cowherd boys, even they're in Vrindavan, they're with Krishna. In the evening, when Krishna goes back to Nandagram, they're feeling separation from Krishna. They're not with Krishna anymore. They've been with him all day. Or the gopis, when Krishna goes, chapter 35 is really beautiful. He's with the cowherd boys, playing his flute and doing things. And they're with Krishna in their heart, and eager for Krishna to return. So, association with Krishna is the essence of association with the devotees of Krishna, the residents of Vrindavan, let's say specifically. So, another way of answering your question is, it's a Rupa Goswami teaching, by developing some affection and fixing the mind on in appreciation of the perfected souls of Vrindavan, they're called ragatmikas, that awakens raga bhakti. So that's the path, but the raga bhakti is then its attachment to Krishna through that doorway or that agency or that meditation. So it's a little, it's sequential, but it's a little artificial to separate one from the other, or vice versa. Separate Krishna from his intimate associates in Braja, or separate the intimate associates of Krishna from Krishna. they're so intimately connected. It's a little awkward to differentiate and say this is more important or that's more important.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Now the second part of your question.
Oh, yeah. Second part of question is, yeah, I think you answered it. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, fine. Go ahead. Online?
There are no online questions.
No online questions. So we're done. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.